Thanks for tuning into the Loss Prevention News Network. I'm Joe LaRocca. I'm joined by a very special guest. This is Stuart Levine with the Zellman Group. Stuart, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Stuart, for many years, you've obviously been involved with the Zellman Group, and companies probably know you from the conferences and the good work that you're doing out through the industry and even with other solution providers. But today I wanted to talk about something different that I know you and I both are very passionate about, which is the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, the museum, and the other work that they're doing around the country. You've been a supporter of NLE, OMF, the memorial, and the museum for many years now. Can you tell us a little bit about what are they,
Sure.
What do they represent, and how'd you get involved?
Too many questions, Joe.
Sorry.
So the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund was created. It recognizes all the police officers that have fallen in the line of duty. Currently, on the limestone walls, there's over 20,000 names of officers that gave their lives, the ultimate sacrifice for our public.
The memorial is located in downtown Washington, D.C. It's at 6th and E, a beautiful, very tranquil place to visit. It's right off of the Judiciary Square metro station, but really central to the courts. It's by the FBI building. It's a beautiful place to visit. They do events there during Police Week. Can you describe a little bit about some of the things that they do at the memorial itself?
I would challenge anybody, Joe, to go down for Police Week and see the family members, the kids leaving tennis shoes by their dad's or their mom's names, scratching a piece of paper with a pencil to have the inlay from their significant other's name, leaving candles, decks of cards, shots of tequila and scotch, things that they did with their partners and their brothers in law enforcement. During Police Week, there's a bike ride it's a 300-mile ride that raises money for the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. I think to date it's raised over $17 million. Wow. And I had the pleasure 3 years ago of riding from New York City, 300 miles down to Washington, D.C. We raised a lot of money.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I've been to the vigil and to Police Week many times, and there is nothing like it. And there are many, many good causes across the country that honor fallen officers, but this is really the one place that I think brings in departments from all over the country to really display the love and care of their family, their partners, the agencies, etc. Now, you've been a supporter of these programs for many years, and I want to get to the museum in just a minute, but there's retailers involved. There are a number of different companies, phone companies, insurance companies, and others that all contribute their time, their resources, sometimes their people to help events and the ride, as you mentioned, etc. How'd you originally get involved, and what would you suggest to a company that wants to maybe play a bigger role in spending some time with the memorial?
It's a great question, Joe. So I met Craig Floyd, the chairman of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, at a trade show. I happened to be introducing him because I was a sponsor of what he was speaking about. And I do have an affinity for police. I was a law enforcement officer in the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. We hit it off well, and I decided to take up and donate some time to the cause.
And so it started with this one meeting. I know you brought Craig into the National Retail Federation, and even this week during the NRF Protect conference, you have something going on in your booth to help the attendees become more aware and help the foundation or the fund. Tell us a little bit about that. What are you doing in your booth?
Sure. Thank you for asking. So we're having an auction. 100% of the proceeds benefit the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. That's a mouthful. Today we have a Mike Tyson boxing glove. We have a Hope Solo signed soccer ball. I was going to say a baseball, which would be an interesting signature.
Right, yeah.
We have a Kevin Durant signed jersey.
Wow.
We have Muhammad Ali in the ring during WrestleMania 1 with Hulk Hogan winning the first WrestleMania, and Hulk Hogan signed the picture. And we also have a Denver Broncos John Elway signed game authentic helmet, just to name a few things.
Wow. Interesting. So if you're watching this or you're listening, go down to the Zellman Group
Booth 601.
601. Something tells me you can't miss it. It's
Booth 601.
601. And check out the auction items. So, Stuart, let's fast forward now. In the works for many years has been this, most people don't know this, but there's a museum being built. And it's across the street from the actual memorial. Tell us a little bit about what does that museum represent and any idea on when it will actually open or complete
Well, that's the
construction?
$1 million question. I do believe it's slated for fall of 2018
Okay,
for the
that's
actual
good
grand
news.
opening.
That's great.
It's going to have a beautiful glass enclosure. Most of the facility will be underground, but it'll have a beautiful, almost like an Apple store.
Right.
A beautiful glass enclosure. There'll be simulations for families, for kids, and for adults to simulate shoot, don't shoot, to learn more about telecommunications, how 911 operators work, the inception of a call. And they'll really help the public. I think it's great when a juvenile can learn early on, don't be scared of the police.
Right.
These police officers every day put their life on the line to help people that they don't even know.
That's right.
And they're going to walk them through what it's like to be a police officer, to be trained as a police officer, and to get a feel for what police officers go through every day, Joe.
It's fantastic. Mark your calendars for that grand opening. And when you're in Washington, D.C., there are so many great sites. The museum is going to be something really, really special. So fast forward, what's next on the agenda? I know there's events all over the country. What are some of the things that people, perhaps not in D.C., outside, in maybe New York or other places, can look for to get involved?
There are walks and bike rides all around the country with local and state law enforcement agencies. But I would recommend the number one thing would be come down in the first week of May, 1 year, and experience the memorial. It's free to the public. Look at the families. Look at them honoring, the kids and the spouses honoring their significant others, and get a feel for what it's really like. And I think it's so important for the public to respect law enforcement officers that are out there every day.
I completely agree, and I know in the months leading up to the Memorial and Police Week, there are a number of rides and runs where departments, agencies are raising money to support the families and their partners and agency colleagues to go to the memorial during that week. A great way to get involved with your community, with your local law enforcement agency. And Stuart really hit on something important. These are the best we have. And they voluntarily go out there and serve the country, serve your community. These are the people that kids should look up to and not protest against out in the streets. It breaks my heart when I see that happening. But I think the tide's starting to turn. I don't know if you have that general feeling that...
I do. Last year, we lost 135 officers. Their names were put on the wall this May. And we're hoping this year that number drops because anything 1 or above is just too many, Joe.
Too many. Yeah, absolutely. Let's turn a different note. Very positive news, right? They're being honored. They're being represented. There's people out there like you and others that are making this known. Stuart, thank you so much for spending the time. If you have an interest, you can always reach out to me. Reach out to Stuart. NLEOMF on the internet. The fund or the museum, worthy causes, please look into them. And if you have any questions, please never hesitate to give us a call. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And Gus, we're going to turn it back over to you right now.